Good day, everyone. Hello, everyone. Здравствуйте, добро пожаловать. Меня зовут Сабит.
My name is Sabit Mukhanov. I welcome everyone. Please take a seat. We're ready to start.
CEO of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. It's very nice and to be welcoming you here. We are ready to begin in a sec. Please take your seats. We are ready to begin the conference. Just in case. Дорогие участники, у вас на сиденьях находятся как раз-таки наушники.
Dear participants, you've got headsets on your seats. Please press 0 for the original statements.
Your headphones on your seats. If you wish to choose a language to listen, there is numbering on the screen. Please select the right one for you. Thank you.
Құрметті ханымдар мен мырзалар, бүгін
Well, dear participants of today's event, I welcome you at the opening of Initiative Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. I welcome and I congratulate you on the Nowruz ethnic holiday and the holy Ramadan month of Ramadan. Today has a special significance for Kazakhstan because we're pulling together efforts with the international community in our fight for climate stability. The most pressing matters and challenges internationally are on every country's agenda, including Kazakhstan. And that's why we attach great importance. We prioritize climate change and combating it. Kazakhstan, like other countries, is trying to be very proactive in carrying out the international agenda and resolving international challenges and issues. Kazakhstan has a special roadmap till carbon neutrality 2060. Coal, Kazakhstan uses coal extensively, and therefore we must fight together for carbon neutrality and push for climate stability. Chapter Zero is a wonderful opportunity to promote our initiatives and promote our agenda and combat climate change. We're honored to witness international participants at our forum. I'm sure it will be just a good start for new international projects. Therefore, I'd like to give the floor to our guests. Then we'll have a follow-up discussion. Dear forum participants, I first give the floor to the Minister of Higher Education and Science. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear guests. I welcome, dear colleagues, dear participants, to the International Forum today. Why is the topic? Why is the Chapter Zero agenda so important? This initiative spans 72 countries of the world. Kazakhstan is inaugurating the 31st branch of the global network, and it's perfectly in line with international requirements, and it serves the best interests of Kazakhstan, which means that it is also our goal the president is abroad, is on a tour abroad. He hasn't been able to honor us with his presence, and therefore Gulnara Kanim, head of the committee, I'm sorry, this Ms. Gulzada Tamir Bergenovna, on behalf of the government, on behalf of the president administration, I would like to say hello to everyone. I'm greatly honored to be talking on behalf of the presidential administration, sustainable development, environment and other pressing goals. Our country officially recognizes all of the targets of the government program. They are all indicated in all of our long-term visions. Recently, our country has held events on the Mejlis and on the Senate level. We have only several years to go until, well, the implementation of some global matters. We are sometimes we're falling behind, and currently we cannot really show too much for some of the years we have been doing. So we have to step up work, including in the sphere of corporate governance. Corporate governance is not only about private commitments or corporate commitments. It's a commitment that should be undertaken by the whole of our society. We simply must pull together our efforts, and therefore the percentage, the contribution to be made by private businesses, enterprises, of the industrial level is very important. And our colleague will also make a point. Our ministries will also make statements. Speaking of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education, it was only founded a couple of years ago, but we are already addressing some of the issues, and we do not shun responsibility. Water is an important item on our agenda. Water and water resources. It is going to remain a very pressing issue in the several years to come. But since last year, water is very high on our agenda for several reasons. In the People's Republic of China, China has recently adopted a food security problem. There are the so-called trans-border rivers shared by our countries, and some of these rivers pose threats to our country. In Asia, the Asian river Mekong, on the delta side, where they grow rice in China, the salination process, salt, the percentage of salt is encroaching. And we see scientific work underway. Grants totaling 4.6 billion tenge have been announced, and our scientists are working together with the Scientific Research Institutes for Geography and Geology. And these projects are underway together with UNESCO in the city of Taras. The University of the city of Taras, is doing a lot of work here on a new level. And the Taras University of the city of Taras will open a branch of a new scientific branch, a representative office they're going to train personnel. They're going to do applied work in applied science, in fundamental science. So we are just doing things. We're starting doing things in this realm. Green projects, green initiatives, green hydrogen, for instance, particularly in Asia, in Europe, is coming to the fore. We're witnessing new green hydrogen implementation strategies, and several Kazakhstani major investors are going to undertake this work. There are plans to start work in the city of Aktau, together with the ministries, together with the company. They will run applied scientific work. We have offered our recommendations. They work together with 6 institutions, scientific establishments of Germany, for instance, and other countries. In the University of Aktau, Darmstadt, the Berlin University, the Hamburg University of Applied Science, for example. All of these institutions are active in the city of Aktau. They've been active there since last year on the basis of the 2+2 format. They are going to spend 2 years studying the German language. The students, and they are to spend 1 year in Germany, and they will also serve as interns in Germany for 1 year. Well, it's in unparalleled experience, so they will have compound. They'll obtain compound degrees plus internships. They'll also have internships under their belts. The main goal here is to train future engineers with applied skills, with very good skills. Someone who've served as interns. Again, I'm talking about dual degrees. The city of Aktau is implementing this project. It's our goal is to train engineers in a different way, together with the Aqua Power company. The Aqua Power company is planning to come over to Kazakhstan and to start a project together with Kazakhstan's universities. They are planning to train personnel, train experts. Esteemed forum participants, on behalf of our ministry and on behalf of Kazakhstan's government, I'd like to wish you all success in your work. And on behalf of the ministry, we are planning and we're eager to support whatever projects and initiatives there are. We'll try to promote the decision-making process, to facilitate it with the aim of training strong people with a strong engineering background. Well, we'll do whatever is necessary and it is expected of us. So Yarosat Novakovich, you're always ready to adopt new things, harness new things. So thank you so much. Just to cut down on the hydrogen and coal, which is used. We're trying our best, and the major role is played here by the ministry. The next matter, Mr. Ilyas Bakitjan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you on behalf of the Minister and on behalf of the Minister of Energy in general. So I welcome you at the opening of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. That's an important step in development of the energy sector in the country. Facing environmental challenges, taking into account environmental risks and transition to economy with low carbon emissions is one of the main aims of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. This project, which is implemented in more than 70 countries of the world, and now it's launched in Kazakhstan, that's a milestone for us. We acknowledge that the Ministry of Energy is playing a key role in this initiative. Kazakhstan is one of the largest hydrocarbon producers, and our country has a huge renewable energy capacity. In this regard, our mission is to ensure energy sector development in a sustainable and environmentally friendly way. So this will allow us to preserve our natural resources and to ensure an incremental growth. It means that our goal is not only to ensure energy security, develop energy infrastructure, but the transition to more sustainable and environmentally friendly energy sources. We recognize that on its way to carbon neutrality, Kazakhstan is going to face significant challenges. However, we see that this creates also a lot of opportunities for development and progress. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is a joint effort of the government, businesses, and civil society to reach the sustainable energy objectives. And we would like to invite all the stakeholders to join this initiative and to collectively ensure development of the future energy system of Kazakhstan. We are sure that our joint efforts to achieve, we're sure that our joint efforts will allow us to achieve the best results and will make us one of the leaders in sustainable development. In conclusion, I would like to say that Chapter Zero Kazakhstan initiative is not only climate change and energy transition initiative. This is our common future, our responsibility to future generations, and it is about acting consciously today so that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the beauty and richness of our land tomorrow. So we encourage you to join our initiative to make the mission of this project successful. Thank you for your kind attention and commitment to this noble cause. Thanks a lot. Bahijan, thank you very much. Masa Maidanovic has supported us from the very beginning, and thanks a lot for your warm welcoming speech. Environmental sustainability of Kazakhstan now and in the future is important for us. It's quite obvious. We would like to give the next floor to Marsun Tushubayuli. Thanks, dear colleagues. Thanks, dear forum participants. Today we have a very important event, and my colleague has mentioned that every ministry plays an important role here, and we, Zimbad and I met yesterday in the Senate, and I met other colleagues, and we exchanged information on the achievements we have from day to day, and we are discussing what the different stakeholders do in contributing to the environmental policy development, and this is done on a daily basis. We track all the achievements every day, and I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of the Ministry of Ecology, on behalf of our Minister, And I'd like to say that climate change globally is an urgent issue, as this impacts not only the environment but the economic and social development. Global leaders, experts, academia, they study introduction of green technologies and strengthening the climate regulation. Currently, the principles of ESG standards in corporate governance is very important and relevant. So Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is doing everything possible to implement this. And we are talking about the responsible attitude towards actions in climate, combating climate change. And I would like to mention that those members of the board which make decisions should commit to making everything possible to achieve carbon neutrality. The Republic of Kazakhstan has taken a lot of pledges under the international conventions, in particular in greenhouse gas reduction. Last year, we've adopted the Carbon Neutrality 2060 strategy, which is an important and comprehensive document specifying all the reforms of a social, economic nature and environmental nature to achieve carbon neutrality. To implement the climate policy, including greenhouse gas emissions reduction, introduction of the best applicable technologies, development of renewable energy and biodiversity preservation and climate adaptation, we acknowledge that climate action requires joint efforts, and Chapter Zero Kazakhstan platform gives all the opportunities to support knowledge and advanced skills in this field, and is an important step to achieve global goals in climate action. So in conclusion, I would like to wish everyone to have a very fruitful event, and I would like to reiterate that what we are doing on behalf of the Ministry of Ecology is very important. Everyone who is in charge of climate action is here. We are focusing on renewable energy and decarbonization of the country. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yerlan. Yerlan, you're very active in all the discussions going on.
Governance principles. These efforts in accordance with the Charter of the Climate Governance Initiative. I would like to invite Ms. Julie Badley, the chair of the Climate Governance Initiative's Governing Board, who is joining us virtually from London.
Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is the 31st member of a global network dedicated to the important job of mobilizing board directors to place climate change firmly at the center of the corporate agenda. I've been closely involved with the Climate Governance Initiative, which was developed in collaboration with the World Economic Forum, since it started. I've seen the initiative grow from an early concept with a small group of ambitious board directors with a clear vision on climate to a network of 31 chapters spanning 72 countries and with a collective membership of more than 100,000 board directors. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan joins a powerful, optimistic and supportive network. The growth we've seen over the last few years has been tremendous, but our shared mission remains as strong as ever. Mobilizing boards to accelerate the transition to net zero and to build climate resilience. Our and your work has never been more important or urgent. The time to halve emissions globally is shrinking fast, and yet they're still on the rise in many parts of the world. It has become increasingly clear that whether or not the world of business takes a role of bold climate leadership will have a huge influence over whether we are able to halt climate change. As Mark Carney, UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance, said, the vision and action of directors is fundamental to addressing the risks posed by climate change and to delivering a smooth transition to a low-carbon economy. By providing a platform for board directors to access local and global expertise and engage with climate action, Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is helping directors recognize that a focus on climate is integral to basic good governance and good business. So how does our global network support board directors? We empower and equip board directors to take action on climate change in the boardroom by providing them with tools, skills, and knowledge to ask questions, create strategies for the long-term resilience of the companies they govern. Our work is underpinned by the principles for effective climate governance developed by the World Economic Forum. We empower board directors through events, webinars, and networking to share best practice amongst peers, and we equip them with the tools to take a climate leadership role through resources and training, including courses on climate governance, case studies from other companies on climate leadership, and through our one-stop resource library for board directors. As an example of some of the amazing things our chapters have achieved, they have partners with stock exchanges, convened international sustainability conferences, launched courses for board directors, co-authored a book on climate governance, engaged with presidents, prime ministers and policymakers, and developed live events, podcasts and tools for directors. I look forward to seeing what Chapter Zero Kazakhstan and its knowledge partners can achieve to add to all of this. The network of chapters of the Climate Governance Initiative stretches from Brazil to Belgium, from Switzerland to Singapore, and from the United States to the United Kingdom. Directors on every inhabited continent are pledging to build resilience, get and keep organizations on the road to net zero, and ultimately to tackle the climate crisis. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan will have the support of the global network, drawing on the peer support of other chapters and the experience of corporate directors, which will accelerate the way in which you will develop and shape the role of board governance in Kazakhstan. Vital to its mission will be the collaboration with partners, such as the European Bank of Reconstruction and Development and the Astana International Finance Center. We are delighted to welcome Chapter Zero Kazakhstan to our global network with its core mission to accelerate climate action in Kazakhstani organizations. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is primed to deliver real impact for its members and the stakeholders that their organizations touch and for the world. I look forward to working with the chapter in this vital mission, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you, Ms. Badley, for sharing the exciting work for the Climate Governance Initiative globally. Thank you so much. The EBRD recognizes the need for knowledge delivery and dissemination between business communities and stakeholders, which will support transformative climate actions, decarbonizations, and transition planning efforts. Welcome, Mr. Oshan. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear Minister, Director, Governors, colleagues. It is indeed a great pleasure and with great enthusiasm that I stand before you today at the launch of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, a great step forward in our collective effort to combat climate change and sustainable development. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to all involved in bringing Chapter Zero Kazakhstan to fruition. I remember talking about it for the first time with Karlagash, and it was around the time at the launches of Chapter Zero in Turkey and Chapter Zero in Uzbekistan. And then I told to myself, given the prominence, importance, and the enthusiasm and the need in Kazakhstan, that EBRD should certainly facilitate and accelerate the efforts here. And I'm very proud to be here today as the initiative marks the significant milestone in our journeys towards a greener, more resilient future for Kazakhstan. It is essential to recognize the critical role that Chapter Zero Kazakhstan will play in integrating sustainable development principles into the fabric of the businesses. In a world facing unprecedented challenges in terms of environment, it is imperative that corporate leaders embrace climate governance competencies to steer their organizations towards a low-carbon economy. Through Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, we aim to empower board members and executives to navigate the complexities of climate change, safeguard the assets, and reduce emissions effectively by not only increasing awareness, but also to take concrete actions. Allow me to also say a few words about how EBRD is contributing to advancing green economy transition across the countries we operate in, particularly in Kazakhstan. As of last year, as EBRD, we promised that all the projects that we invest from then on would be in line, would be aligned with the Paris Agreement. Secondly, again, as of last year, we promised that at least half of the projects that EBRD finances are considered and classified as green projects. What does this mean? This means that in a year, in any given year, about 7 billion euros of EBRD financing is provided to green projects across the 40 countries that we operate in. On the Kazakhstan side, the EBRD is a key partner supporting Kazakhstan's shift to a more sustainable energy mix by combining investments in municipal sectors, in renewables, in energy-efficient technologies, with the policy engagement to develop advanced and investor-friendly regulatory structures in the country. On the investment side, the Kazakhstan's renewable framework, co-funded by the Green Climate Fund, is a flagship EBRD program for financing the renewable energy projects. To date, we have financed 16 renewable energy projects, close to 1 gigawatt in capacity, installed capacity, and we want to do much more. Through the EBRD Green Cities, we are supporting municipalities in developing green city action plans to address key environmental challenges that invest in sustainable infrastructure. To give a few examples, last year we financed the Almaty combined coal heat power plant conversion project, which will reduce the CO2 emissions in Almaty by almost 30%, which will eliminate the sulfur and nitrogen oxides completely. And just recently, last week, we signed another project to modernize the wastewater treatment plant that is in Aktobe. Minister talked about Taraz. We want to do also the same in Taraz, and we're also working on irrigation projects in various oblasts in Kazakhstan. EBRD also provides credit lines to participating financial institutions under the green economy financing frameworks to finance gender-responsive green investments in private sector companies, in SMEs, and the residential sector. On the policy side, I'm very happy that this was already mentioned a few times. We have also worked closely with all the ministries on the development of the long-term decarbonization strategy 2060. We worked with Ministry of Energy on the low-carbon pathway, and at the last COP, we were very happy to see Kazakhstan joining the Global Methane Pledge. In closing, let us embrace Chapter Zero Kazakhstan as a beacon of hope and progress in our collective fight against climate change. Together, we have the power to shape a future that is not only sustainable, but also prosperous for all generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rojan.
Now I'll give the word to Mr. Yildiz Muratovich. It's a major event at which we have assembled to address the decisions that will ensure our company's sustainability. We live at a time in which climate-related risks and opportunity assessment is extremely important. As a holding representing various sectors of our economy is a driver of ESG principles, we implement high corporate governance standards which are perfectly in line with the OECD exchanges. Our strategic goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 10% by 2032 compared to 2021. There are 50 events, including projects of transitioning to low-carbon energy and improving maneuverability in power generation. We're planning a number of projects. We're planning to implement projects. We want to build a wind park of 1 gigawatt, together with Equapower, 1 gigawatt. We also want to build accumulation systems together with the Mazda company, a 1 gigawatt wind park together with China Park International Holding. Cooperation plays a key role in addressing the key issues of energy transition. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan will become a reliable platform for training our executives in decision-making in the context of a changing world. I congratulate you on the start of your activities in Kazakhstan, and I congratulate you and I wish you substantive success in your work. Thank you. Thank you, Yildiz Mirza. Thank you so much. You're always very supportive of what we do. In promoting the energy sector, your organization plays a particularly important role. I give the floor to head of the board of directors, Kazmune Gaz. Like esteemed participants, I congratulate you on the official inauguration of the Climate Governance Initiative designed to combat climate change. I'm referring to Chapter 01. On behalf of Kazmune Gaz, I thank the organizers. As you may all know, Kazakhstan has officially adopted the carbon neutrality strategy until 2060. Given the importance of the climate agenda, our company has resolved to keep the balance between the current operations and the and new green projects. At the end of 2021, we adopted a new development vision for Kazmany Gas spanning 10 years. It includes, striving for better, for high wealth of the company and new technologies. We want to ensure seamless operations of oil refineries. We want to find new ways of exporting gas and coal, and reduce the labor intensiveness of operations. Given in the light of the by 2031, we are planning to cut down emissions by 15% and harness new renewables with a power of 300 megawatt and cut energy intensity by about 10%. Under the UN Conference on Climate Change at the end of 2023, we joined the GMP 2.0 initiative. We are also considering new decarbonization steps and activities, taking into account climate regulation and new technologies to improve our competitive edge. We are decarbonizing our activities and we are pursuing a low carbon path. We are also trying to do our best to achieve a net zero future. In our efforts, we are prepared to support the Chapter Zero Kazakhstan initiative, which will be a beacon, which will provide much support to private business. I wish you all success in your work.
Ms. Sonia Tatar, an Executive Director at INSEAD Corporate Governance Center and a leader in global business education, to welcome Chapter Zero Kazakhstan with her insights on sustainability and leadership.
Thank you so much, Golzeda. A very good morning, esteemed guests, fellow advocates for sustainability and visionary leaders of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. I'm Sonia, the Executive Director of the Corporate Governance Center at INSEAD, INSEAD being one of the leading business schools in the world. It is an honor, a privilege, and a profound privilege actually for me to join you, although virtually today, and I hope I'll be with you in person soon, to celebrate together a significant and exciting milestone, the launch of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. At the INSEAD, we firmly believe in the power of knowledge and education to transform lives, to develop responsible leaders who drive impact and serve as a force for good for the world. Our mission resonates deeply with the objectives we are celebrating today. In the face of escalating environmental and social challenges, the role of corporate governance and leadership has never been more critical as they shape the strategies, cultures, and ultimately the sustainability agendas and footprints of organizations worldwide. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan embodies a visionary commitment to this cause. By fostering and mobilizing a community of board directors and leaders to address the complexities of climate change, Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is paving the way for transformative change and action. This initiative stands as a lighthouse that inspires and guides corporations towards resilience, sustainability, and long-term value creation, not just for the shareholders, but also for all stakeholders and the society at large. In this era of unprecedented challenges and opportunities at the same time, the synergy between corporate governance, stewardship, and sustainability is undeniable. As leaders, our decisions have far-reaching implications, extending beyond the boardroom to impact communities, ecosystems, and future generations. It is our responsibility as leaders to integrate sustainability into the core of our business strategies, ensuring positive contribution to the planet and people around the world. It is with great excitement and optimism that I would like to announce in this occasion as well that INSEAD is in a promising discussion today with Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. We are exploring collaboration on corporate governance. Together, we are committed to fostering and disseminating cutting-edge research, insights, and educational programs that will empower current and future leaders. This collaboration will not only enhance our understanding of the nexus between governance, leadership, stewardship, and sustainability, but will also equip leaders with the essential tools and frameworks to navigate the intricacies of our times today. As we embark on this journey, all of us, together today, let us be inspired by the potential of what we can do. Let us be inspired by the potential of what we can drive and what we can achieve together. Let us come together, build coalitions, forge partnerships to challenge conventional wisdom and drive responsible actions towards a more sustainable and equitable world. So let me congratulate once again the leaders, the visionary who are driving Chapter Zero Kazakhstan for this momentum launch. Your initiative serves as the shining light of the transformative power of collective action and visionary leadership. I look forward to walking this path with you towards a future where corporate governance and sustainability are intertwined, driving positive change for generations to come, for the planet and for people. Thank you sincerely for inviting me to be part of this memorable celebration, part of this new journey. We're in it together. Let's move ahead, let's drive change, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. I now give the floor to Mr. Daniyar Kalbetov, head of the AIFC. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear guests. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, I welcome you on the official inauguration ceremony for Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. I'm honored to welcome you in AIFC. We are witnessing Kazakhstan's accession to the Global Economic Forum and to this significant project. What is very high on our agenda is the question we are addressing, exactly the question we are addressing at this forum. What do I mean? Like other countries, we are all actively involved in this initiative. I mean, decarbonization initiative. Last year, Kazakhstan adopted carbon neutrality legislation, and the president of Kazakhstan keeps pointing out that Kazakhstan simply must accede to this international initiative. The AIFC, in its turn, well, it's a center which is fully in line with international standards and requirements. We are using extensively cutting-edge technologies, and AIFC is a flagship in Central Asia, among Central Asian countries in terms of green project implementation. together with other partners. AIFC includes major frontline international Central Asia organizations which are active in the green economy. Not only in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan or Kyrgyzstan, we are planning to go beyond. We are going to issue stock in Kazakhstan and beyond. Our mission is to ensure to embed sustainable business practices. We are as an international financial center. We are fully supportive of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, and we're fully prepared to give whatever support is needed for this work. Thank you so much for your tremendous support. I now give the floor to the founding member of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, Ms. Karligosh Imanbayeva. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you at the official inauguration ceremony of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. If you allow me, I'll keep going in English.
Yes, it's with a great pride and anticipation that I welcome you to the launch of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. We are a pivotal local chapter of the Climate Governance Initiative, a project in collaboration with the World Economic Forum. As part of the global network, which includes 30 chapters across 71 countries, we are connected to a worldwide movement dedicated to climate governance. We are going to join the community of non-executive directors committed to advance the board's role in achieving this objective. As a founder and chair of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, I'm honored to be standing here today to celebrate the beginning of Chapter's journey towards the climate change and net zero targets. Today's launch is a significant milestone for Kazakhstan as we step up our role in the international effort to combat the climate change. At the World Economic Forum 2024 Global Risk Report, they mentioned that we have the future climate change as a present reality. And today, for Kazakhstan, this transformation means we have a very particularly unique climate challenges. Central Asia's air temperatures are rising at twice the global average. Water supply in the region has decreased by more than 4 times compared to the 1960s.
Kazakhstan portion of the Caspian Sea, as it was mentioned by our distinguished panelists, decreased by 7.1% from 2008 to 2023, and the water levels are projected to drop up to the 18 meters by the end of this century. In the light of this situation, the boards play a pivotal role in combating change. This will impact the way boards oversee risk, strategy, and company financials. Yet many directors are unaware about this critical business issue. This is precisely where Chapter Zero Kazakhstan assumes its vital role. We are not just mere observers of this transformation, we are its active participants. Our mission is to function as a dynamic platform for collaboration, to be a think tank composed of the visionary industry leaders, to be a platform and catalyst for the meaningful and lasting changes. We are here to empower non-executive directors and corporate leaders to take bold steps to advance the climate challenge issues. The essence of our identity is reflected in our name, Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. It represents our strong commitment to advance and to a net zero carbon economy. This is where our vision is to inspire and guide non-executive directors by helping them to integrate proactively the climate change and energy transition strategies into the very heart of their business models. We aim to do this first by influencing the corporate decision-making, and second, by driving the regulation rather than merely ensuring the compliance. Today's launch is a call for non-executive directors to join Chapter Zero Kazakhstan and drive the transition to renewables, enhance energy efficiency, and shape effective ESG strategies for long-term value and ethical governance. Our ambitions at Chapter Zero Kazakhstan are grounded in collaboration and bolstered by the invaluable support and expertise of our partners. We are honored to unite with EBRD, AIFC, and an advisory board of distinguished patron chairs from Samruk Kazna, Kazenergy, Polymetal International, Total Energies, Aqua Power, Masdar, and Air Astana, who will provide the strategic guidance on climate initiatives. This collaboration is enriched by knowledge partners like KPMG, McKinsey, and Nazarbayev University, will bring a wealth of expertise and insights, ensuring we remain leaders in sustainability practices and strategies. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan has partnered with leading business school INSEAD to bring the customized program for board directors in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. These partnerships are crucial in transforming our goals from visions into achievable realities, demonstrating the power of collective efforts in advancing our mission. In closing, I am reminded of Kazakh saying, "Birlikte kuch бар, birlikte umid бар." In unity, there is strength. In unity, there is hope. As Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, we are a demonstration of this proverb. Together, we have a strength to overcome challenges and hope to envision a better future. Let us carry forward the momentum from today, innovate, collaborate, and lead with purpose together. And as I say, the real work begins now. Thank you. Nazarlarınızga үлкен рахмет.
Thank you very much, dear guests, dear participants. Thank you very much for the support extended to Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. Let's give support to the members of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. Let's take a joint picture all together. Dear guests, dear participants of this forum, I would like to give the floor to Artel Shamisheva. She's going to talk about the importance of global perspectives, and she is the partner of the National Energy Perspective.
To be here today with you at the launch of Chapter Zero in Kazakhstan. It's a really great initiative that will foster energy transition in our country and will address climate change challenges. Today, I would like to share with you our McKinsey's internal study insights on Kazakhstan's path to sustainability. So how current trajectory look like and what it would take to get to net zero targets. Before that, a few points on the global context. One moment. Yes. A total of 64 countries have made commitments, announcements on net zero targets. And according to the latest UN Climate Action Tracker information, total of 141 countries have made announcements or planning, considering net zero targets. These commitments will cover 90% of, almost 90% of the global GDP of population and address 90% of the global emissions. I'm sorry, I will be changing the slides myself. Thank you. So if those commitments will be achieved, we see that renewables are expected to account for 84% of the power generation globally by 2050. This is according to our McKinsey Global Energy Perspective solution, which is a very granular tool to project energy demand, power generation, CO2 emissions globally across 146 countries, 30 economy sectors, and 55 product mix. So it's a very granular bottom-up calculation projection tool. And according to this projection, we see that renewables will account for 84% of the global power generation mix by 2050, and it will be growing at 4% annual rate to get there. This will be supported also with increasing investments in energy sector as well. Especially we see that by 2040, 50% of the investments in energy sector will be coming or will belong to decarbonization technologies or renewables energy. So how the picture looks like in Kazakhstan? In Kazakhstan, according to our projections, we see that primary energy demand will grow by 1.5 times by 2060, 1.5 times. And despite all the energy efficiency initiatives measures we are taking at the moment, this is current trajectory scenario. Despite the measures we are taking, Kazakhstan's energy intensity will still be higher than the global average by 40%. And by 2060, 80% of the primary energy demand will be coming from fossil fuel still, right? So to get to net zero, we need to have more bolder measures, more additional initiatives to take to get to net zero targets. Current trajectory comes with its own challenges. So current trajectory means that we won't be decreasing CO2 emissions by 2060. So CO2 emissions level will remain on the same level. Today, Kazakhstan is on the 4th place on CO2 emissions per GDP ratio. It's on the 5th place per capita, and in absolute terms, it's on the 20th place. So it's not indicators to be proud of, and we really need to make bold actions here. That's one challenge. And another challenge is more economic as well, right? So Kazakhstan is a natural resources-based country. Our economy is basically driven by oil and gas and metals and mining, right? And we see that actions taken by other countries or industry players, for example, CBAM, will jeopardize their financial situation, basically whole economy of Kazakhstan as well. According to our very simple calculation, like no heavy modeling, just a naive, simple calculation, assuming that export level volumes and the product mix will remain same by 2060, total cumulative payments to CBAM will be 165 billion USD by 2060. So 60% of the profit of our exporting companies will be at risk by CBAM payments. So basically, decarbonization, net zero, it's not about only climate change, it's also about economic performance, financial performance of our industry players. How to get to net zero? So one of the key levers is power generation mix. And LCOE, levelized cost of electricity, will dictate what would be the power mix, power generation mix going forward. And our projection shows that by 2030, which is basically in 4-6 years from now, renewables, LCOE, cost of renewables, will be competitive, will keep declining, will be competitive and on par with new gas power plants building. And actually modernization of the coal still will be feasible, but building of new coal power plants won't be economically attractive. Also, the nuclear power plants that we are considering at the moment, by 2030, it's not economically feasible, viable as well. Right? Cost of the nuclear power plant here is even conservative. This number 88, it's still conservative given that it would be first of a kind nuclear power plant to be built in Kazakhstan, and usually the cost gets higher. So by 2030, probably it's not the decision to make. But post-2030, we can reconsider nuclear power plants, especially considering modular small nuclear power plants, given that technologies will be advancing and their cost will be declining as well. That's a decision to be made post-2030, maybe even later. By 2060, renewables, even with the storage capacities, will be the most competitive energy source. And new gas power plants, considering we will have enough gas supply as well. So with that, net zero scenario, how does it look like? In net zero scenario, we see that 75% of the power generation capacities mix should come from renewables, not 50 or 55% that we're targeting now, so it should be around 70-80%. And the capital requirement would be around 215 billion USD by 2060. And this is only for power generation capacities. We're not talking about carbon offsetting measures, for example, or decarbonization levers that, for example, companies would be taking. Just purely for power generation, the total capital requirement would be over 200 billion USD. And even in that scenario, we see that 80 million of CO2 equivalent will be still emitted, and that will require additional carbon offsetting measures in Kazakhstan to get to net zero targets. So here, higher capital requirements for the net zero scenario, strong collaboration between the government, business players, between the society is required, and reskilling of the employees will be required as well. And I believe Chapter Zero will take a main role here to reskill our employees in Kazakhstan, and also to be a platform for the collaboration of government and society and the industry players. Key levers for the Kazakhstan to achieve net zero targets, it's to increase investment client in the country, considering that investments or capital requirements will be huge. It's about enhancing renewables-related regulation and permitting processes. It's about modernizing, expanding our grid infrastructure as well, transmission distribution lines, and also accelerated energy efficiency and decarbonization measures taken by whole industry players and the society. So those are the 4 key levers that Kazakhstan should take. And when it comes to the board needs to be equipped to actually equip their organizations to drive or act on the sustainability agenda. And the first and foremost, they need to ensure that each organization has a net zero strategy. And net zero strategy or sustainability aspiration is not about only climate change or ESG rating or investors' perspective. It's also it also offers some opportunities as well that companies should consider. Opportunities in terms of attracting best talent, for example, right? We see at the moment new generation are not going to like oil and gas industry, for example, because they tend to pay attention to decarbonization strategy or emissions level of those companies. So how we attract best talent? Do we have additional opportunities in terms of decarbonization business models, right? So it offers additional kind of benefits, opportunities that companies should consider, and it needs to take place in their net zero strategies. And board then needs to be sure how to manage those risks and opportunities. Are organizations ready? Governance structure of the organizations. Do we have enough practices, policies, and procedures in place to actually implement those initiatives? on time at required level and achieve the targets? Do we have enough skills and capabilities in the organization, and how we actually skill them up? Right? So those are the questions board needs to answer, and I'm looking forward to hear from the panel about their experiences, about their practices in their organization. With that, passing back to Gulzada, and many thanks for your attention.
Thank you.
Congratulations with the Chapter Zero.
Үлкен рахмет, Әсем ханым. Осындай керемет құнды ақпаратыңыз үшін. Құрметті
esteemed participants, our event is, we are starting part 2 of our event, the panel discussion called Climate Change, Risks and Challenges and Opportunities for our executives, Mr. Dailat Bek Ipayev Mackenzie. Mr. Ipayev, you have the floor. Mackenzie. Good afternoon, dear forum participants. My name is Dailat Bek. I am the leading managing partner of our company as representative office in Central Asia. I'm very happy to be here. Decarbonization and net transition to net zero is one of the priorities, and they're part of our mission. So it sounds like this: we are the biggest drivers of decarbonization in the world. We want to become the world's biggest driver of decarbonization. Why do we want to do this? As a consulting company, we work together with the world's largest players in all sectors of economy. Mining, be it energy generation. We also work together with regulators, and climate is one of our priorities. We do a lot for. And again, in Kazakhstan, it's also a major priority here in Kazakhstan, and we want to do our best to help Kazakhstan achieve carbon neutrality. The previous speaker has shared the results of a study we have conducted just in order to show the trajectory we have and where we're going. Of course, we have to speed up because we didn't have the best start in terms of per capita emissions, carbon emissions. You all know and are aware of the of Kazakhstan's the environmental situation, Kazakhstan's biggest cities. You know, when you move some out of those cities, you come back healthier than you were. Of course, this you know, the resolution of this problem goes beyond government. We need cooperation and everyone's support. We are a knowledge partner and to Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, and just want to chip in to contribute to the work via boards of directors, and we just want to do everything in our best, in our power, to advance this agenda. Our panel is comprised of business people, heads of businesses, also representing academia. And what is it you do in your, what kind of hurdles do you run into? Nearly all of our panelists speak English, so let me just speak in English. Switch to.
So first one is Thierry Plaisant, who is the managing director of Total Energies Renewables in Kazakhstan. Welcome, please. Thank you. Secondly, I would like to invite Abid Malik, so regional head of Central Asia Aqua Power. Then Timur Amashev, please welcome to the stage, who is a partner and head of consulting department of KPMG in Caucasus and Central Asia. So Loretta O'Donnell, who is Vice Provost of Nazarbayev University. Please welcome to the stage. And Aynur Saspanova, Chairman of the Board of Association of RES Green Energy, Kazakh Green. Thanks to all the panelists for taking your time to participate in today's session. So I think we have around 30 minutes remaining for the questions, but I would like to also have, let's say, 10-15 minutes in the end so that all the participants have the opportunity to ask questions from the panelists. And I would like to first start with the question to Mr. Thierry Plazant. So we are talking about the climate change and ESG, and this is, I think, known to everyone, but please tell us why it's important for international majors like TotalEnergies. Is your microphone working?
Thank you, Dradek. Indeed, yes, TotalEnergies has placed sustainable development in all its dimensions at the heart of its strategy, projects and operations in order to contribute to the well-being of populations. Moreover, TotalEnergies has structured its sustainable development approach for connecting its activities with focus on the achievements of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, to which TotalEnergies committed its support in 2016. And why it is important for us? We all know that climate change is already here. We already can see the various impacts on our life, nature, in all parts of the world. Starting from COP21 in Paris in 2015, the world has united in the motion that the issue is an emergency, and in order to prevent global warming by only 1.5 degrees, it should be a collective commitment both from countries and business sides to drastically decrease the CO2 emissions by 2050. But also, energy is essential for life, as the global population will continue to grow, especially in Asia, by approximately 2 billion people by 2050, and industries, technologies, transport, heating, cooling, and many other sectors push for more and more energy demand. By crossing these two objectives, it is clear that, at least for TotalEnergies, the world needs more cleaner, affordable, accessible, and as we say in TotalEnergies, better energy, which we should deliver to the people and our customers around the world in a sustainable and responsible manner. That means that we need to reinvent the way we produce and deliver energy, and that is a transformation path we have started in TotalEnergies in 2015 and are currently undergoing in order to become a leading multi-energy and responsible company. Basically, this is our license to operate. And it is true that TotalEnergies was one of the first international energy majors to recognize and take a lead on climate energy transition with very practical actions and reforms. We fully support the Paris Climate Agreement. We joined top international initiatives on climate and decarbonization, and we are one of the first who declared commitment to reach net zero in our operations by 2050. But most important, that we are actually incorporated SDGs and sustainable culture into the heart of our strategy and operations. We are already a global leader in energy transitions. We already channel most of our billions of investment in sustainable electron and renewable projects. We are continuously investing in R&D and pushing the innovations, and that is our pioneer spirit that is driving the change for exactly 100 years that our company exists, and this is the anniversary we are celebrating this year, and even to be more precise, today. Today, the Compagnie Française des Pétroles was created on the 28th March 1924. It is why today is the anniversary of our company, and we will celebrate that today with our teams. Moreover, we can apply exactly the same approach in all countries we operate, and that is why we joined this great initiative with Chapter Zero Kazakhstan, and which believe should play a very important role in steering sustainability and climate issues together with society, policymakers, businesses, educational and scientific institutions. For Kazakhstan, is very important because the Republic wants to be a visible international player and has a vast economic potential which can be and should be unlocked and developed in a sustainable and efficient way, and attract investment and create new growth opportunities which will remain in line with the best international standards and practices.
Thanks a lot, Thierry. I think that TotalEnergies is like one of the leading global energy players who is leading this path, and thank you that you're doing the same here in Kazakhstan. So, my next question is that we all know that there are all these ESG principles and ESG strategies that each companies now adopt, mainly because it is a must, yes, and it is investment like attraction, cheaper financing, etc. But can you elaborate in your view, like really practically, which advantages does the ESG principles and strategies give to the business, and what challenges you see that one?
In our view, there is several advantages, and we can mention here. For countries and societies, clearly environmental improvement and increase quality of life, sustainable economic growth, investment climate in new economic sectors and industries as renewable energy projects, improved economic ties and access to global markets, and sustainable energy resources. For business, it is, as I mentioned, clearly a license to operate, and that it will be more and more important for most of the companies. Access to market, access to financial resources, access to technologies and innovations, reduction of costs, and acceptance by societies.
Okay, and like specifically, for example, for Kazakhstan, how this approach and ESG principles are being reflected in your activities here in Kazakhstan? What do you do in this field?
The approach I described, our sustainability approach in Kazakhstan is fully in line with our global strategy. And first, we are already operating in Kazakhstan for more than 30 years now, and mainly in the famous Kashagan project, which remains on the top in terms of innovations, economic and sustainability performance, and especially taking into account that this project is developed in a very ecologically sensitive North Caspian area, for which there is a lot of technological challenges as reservoir pressure, sulfur, weather. And from the beginning of the project, there were zero routine flaring approach, and with our many other innovations, which makes necessary to implement a lot of innovative and technological solutions implemented onshore and offshore. And also, we continue to develop and implement an effective carbon footprint reduction program, as well as working together with the Republic of Kazakhstan and unlocking the gas potential of the oil field, which can be a perfect transition for Kazakhstan economy and power and utility sector. Also, at the same time, we are investing a lot in renewable energies, with already 2 solar plants projects with a combined capacity of 128 megawatts in Kizilorda and Jambil regions. And there is it is not a coincidence where we were the first company of whom the president of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Kasim Jomart Tokayev, has proposed to develop a unique 1 gigawatt wind and storage project called Mirny, for which we are developing now in partnership with Kazmunayaz and Samuk Kazina in the south of the Lake Balkhash, and it will be the first project of this scale in Asia, especially for the power storage, which will allow to save an equivalent of 3 million tons of CO2 emissions per year, which roughly represents 1% of the total emissions of the country. Also, Total Energy is an active member of the Foreign Investor Council, chaired by the President of Kazakhstan, and a strategic investor and responsible major makes a lot of sustainable actions. In the FIC, Total Energies is co-sharing the Energy Working Group, where we share our best knowledge and provide a global expert assistant to the government of Kazakhstan on development and implementation of the Republic Carbon Neutrality Strategy 2016. We also support education programs development between Kazakhstani and French universities in order to strengthen the human capital of Kazakhstan, especially for the development of our renewable project and especially for the Mirny projects.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. Maybe the last question to you. So, being like really the global actor who is doing this for many years already, what practical advice can you give to, I don't know, our business leaders, to the management team members regarding the ESG and incorporation of all these principles into their activities?
Yes, the world is changing fast, and even in the nearest future, only sustainable business will remain competitive and will continue to operate, that is for sure. And the main challenging we see for some businesses is to adapt and change, especially for those who are more dependent on traditional fossil fuel sources. But the technologies evolve fast and as well, and I am sure that there will be many economic opportunities for those who act first. And also, as many sources of information and support, and Chapter Zero should become one as well. And this dialogue should continue at the levels with practical and tangible objectives and results. And step by step, that is our common goal, global mission. Only together we can actually make a change and achieve progress towards more sustainable life, growth, stability, and prosperity.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. And let's have some round of applause for our speaker. And thank you, and to your company that you're leading this, way in Kazakhstan and showing the example to others. So my next question would be to Mr. Abid Malik, who is the regional head of Aqua Power in Central Asia. Mr. Malik, can you please tell a bit more about your company, and where does the climate and sustainability lie in the agenda of your management board and your board of directors?
First of all, thank you very much on behalf of Aqua Power. Thank you to the organizers and Chapter Zero organization for having me here. Aqua Power is a developer of power, desalinated water, and green hydrogen. We invest and we operate all the portfolio, which is essentially power generation, desalinated water, and green hydrogen. Aqua Power portfolio consists of 55,000 megawatt, or in short, 55 gigawatt of power generation assets. We have all of these assets are either in construction combination of construction, operations, or advanced development. We have capability of producing 7.6 million cubic meter of desalinated water per day. We also have a capacity of producing 1.2 million tons per year of green ammonia. The capacity we have on energy storage is close to 6.5 gigawatt hours. The portfolio consists of, the total value of our portfolio is more than 84 billion US dollars, which we are operating in more than 12 countries around the globe. This is, in short, who we are. We are, as I said, in Central Asia. We are operating or constructing power projects in Uzbekistan, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and inshallah very soon in Kazakhstan. We have recently signed a 1,000 megawatt, 1 gigawatt wind project here, and we are targeting to, we're heading towards the financial close, and inshallah we are very hopeful that we will start construction within next year. If not, end of next year, well before the end of next year, inshallah. As far as, if I, to answer your question on how are we working on the climate change, how do we work on that? I'm sure I cannot see back on the screen, but you can see on the right corner, the portfolio we were talking about of 55 gigawatt. Out of that, 44.5% of our portfolio is renewable. That itself is a clear demonstration of how we are working or contributing in this global village on the climate change. 44.5% is purely on what you call renewable energy, which is basically essentially solar PV, wind, concentrated solar power, CSP. At this point in time, we have a good portfolio of concentrated solar power in Morocco and UAE, which has recently been inaugurated. So these are few things, and we continue to strive to be part of energy transition in every country we operate. And in Central Asia, we have started contributing, as I said, in Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan, and we are looking forward to contribute to this amazing country, which is full of resources and amazing people.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Malik. And so you're already familiar with our, let's say, landscape here in Kazakhstan. What do you think prevents, from really boosting the investment into such projects in Kazakhstan? What can be done to really unlock more of this potential?
Look, the climate change is a very important way forward, is the real thing we need to do. But at the end of the day, this whole mission it's a mission and it's a vision, both. And you cannot accomplish or implement this vision unless, the regulators, and my colleague from McKinsey was very right. I was truly impressed by the statistics you were presenting on the screen. Regulators will have to play a very important role. The finance, Hussein Bey, people like, Hussein Bey, yourself, and EBRD, and other DFIs, extremely important role. Developers will have to contribute. Technology provider, very important. Let me take you back, like a decade back. Think about it, those who were still in this energy business. Look at where the tariff was on the PV sector. In Europe, people, I'm sure you know, in the PV sector, the tariff was 25 euro cents. And it's not 20 years back, it's just 12 years back. 25 euro cents, can you imagine? I mean, at that time, everybody must be thinking, how do we bring this clean energy? And the same PV solar project is hovering between 2 to 4 cents. And the reason was basically there was less drive And when the drive was created, and everybody got unified that we need to work on that mission. And that's how the supply and demand situation came up beyond the surface. The demand was there. The supply had to be competitive. Because at the end of the day, you know, you cannot go towards a clean energy if it's not affordable energy. If the consumer cannot afford it, who would you sell? At the end of the day, now that demand and supply situation drove the technology providers, drove the developers, and that's what we are seeing right now. And that's what is the name of the game in the future. Same goes with the wind. I think we talked a lot. I really think the combination of, again, I would say, regulators, DFIs, the developers, the technology providers, the EPC contractors, everybody has to play an important role. You can't pick point one. They're all like a brick in the wall. You take one brick out and you'll see a hole. You won't be able to build the wall. So even in Kazakhstan, I think it is very important that all these important contributors need to work together and drive it. And one important thing, and we talked about, I think one very important statistic, sorry SM, I keep coming back to you because I really liked one of that slide where you were showing who are the major CO2 contributor. You were showing power, 2.7 something, I remember that. And you were also talking about industries. I think there is a lot going on in the power itself. You're replacing either inefficient combined cycle power plants or thermal power plants with renewable. But one thing, in my opinion, which need to be tapped into Kazakhstan is the industry. It's petrochemical, it's fertilizer, and decarbonization is extremely important. And that decarbonization can only be done if we replicate the success story of PV into green hydrogen. Once you create that success story, that's the way decarbonization has to be done. I mean, let us not live in the illusion that it's a free market. Lenders will give you free money. Developers will come and do for, zero IRR. No. All of this, whatever initiatives we do, all of this have to make a commercial and economic sense. So in my opinion, Kazakhstan, there's a lot of opportunity in the green hydrogen, in the decarbonization of the industry. As I said, I'm not trying to market Aquapower, by the way. There's a lot of, stories going on. If you start Google or Yahoo or whatever search engine you use, you will see that there's a lot of projects on green hydrogen you will see. But actually, there are not many under construction, by the way. Aquapower is constructing, as of today, the world's largest green hydrogen project in NEOM, the famous NEOM, all of you have heard. And we are constructing a couple of other pilot projects, one in Uzbekistan. But we sincerely believe, and I would suggest that this subject really need a lot of focus. I hope I answered your question.
Of course, yeah, fully. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Malik. It's all about the money to make it affordable. That's what for everyone. But thanks a lot. I think that's the key. So you mentioned that the work of all the stakeholders, and I actually wish you a lot of prosperity and good luck in Kazakhstan. So waiting to see more projects, renewable projects in Kazakhstan run by your company. And next question I would have for Timur Omashev.
You are representing the consulting industry. You are working with a lot of businesses, and you see the picture of what is going on in the countries from the point of view of ESG strategy introduction. Can you share your opinion to what extent ESG initiatives are perceived by various businesses, and what are the barriers for ESG to develop further? Dulatbek, thank you very much for this opportunity to express my perspective. I would like to share with you the way how KPMG is managing climate risks as well. Answering your question, I would like to say that ESG agenda is becoming an integral part of the companies or corporate strategies. Historically, if we look back retrospectively, in 2006, when the Sustainable Development Agenda was discussed, we joined the Global Pact of the United Nations, but at that time, ESG was not welcomed on a large scale. ESG initiatives have become more active during the recent decade, and I would like to remind you that in 2015, we adopted the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2016, we ratified the Paris Agreement. So, correspondingly, our regulatory and legislative framework started to change. In 2003, we adopted the Social Code, and the recent novelties that, starting from 2022, the requirement was introduced for all the financial organizations to provide information on all ESG risks. Currently, this is done on a voluntary basis, but starting from 2025, this will be a mandatory requirement. ESG agenda is being introduced. This is our reality, and today we heard our Zero Kazakhstan colleagues sharing their experience and their approaches. We know that some portfolio companies have been reporting on ESG for a long period of time, and actively these reports are verified to check that those figures and that information which is provided are accurate. And summing up, I would like to say that from this perspective, Kazakhstan, if we talk about the corporate governance, ESG agenda, is very active and is very advanced. So we have something to be proud of. Thanks a lot. Then what can we do to introduce this more actively, so that we have this not only in the strategy on paper, but have it in reality, have it in the projects, embedded in the projects. So, first of all, we have to lay the foundation, which is the culture, ESG and risk-based culture, which should be provided top-down by the board, by the management board and board of directors. Number two, we consider that the development of regulatory requirements, introduction of new regulations is important. We have room for improvement here, and although a lot has been done, and if these regulatory tools are operational, we will move from formalities to actions. Thanks, Timur.
Miss O'Donnell. So, Loretta, thanks a lot for joining today. And you are representing Nazarbayev University today. So my question is maybe logical. Can you tell us what does Nazarbayev University does in this respect? What is your role, and where do you see you'll play a role going forward? Maybe you can take mine.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dulatbek. At Nazarbayev University, we are providing the human capital that will support these initiatives. Our students, as you know, work for you at McKinsey, they work for KPMG, they work for Total, they work all around Kazakhstan and the world. And we try and train our students very carefully to international standards so that they can work in these industries, and that they are prepared to challenge the status quo, that they are prepared to ask hard questions, and that they're really prepared to redefine what questions need to be asked in these very complex organisations. So one thing is we train the human capital that will then be part of the solution to this problem. Also, we teach ESG now in our new Bachelor's in Business Administration. That's just opening in August of this year. So we will teach ESG as a specific course of study, and we're doing that partly because we see the landscape changing, and we know this is a very specific area where particularly our business students need to be well trained, and also because it's increasingly important to the accreditation agencies in business schools, particularly AACSB. They assume that we teach ESG in our courses, so we are doing it not only for that, but it is good for students as well. And also, thirdly, as an organisation, we try very much to be role models for good governance, role models for good environmental issues. We've moved into, for instance, using more natural gas. In the past few years, we are trying to reduce our own plastic intake. We are trying to reduce paper. We are trying, as an organisation, to really implement these goals. But of course, fourthly, and very importantly, is that we run, as a research-intensive university, a very broad range of research projects. We also are host to the SDSN, which looks at United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and we, in that research centre, are looking at issues of water policy. We are looking at how ESG issues can be implemented around Kazakhstan. So our research is very much focused on this area. We have engineers looking at water quality and air quality here in Astana, as well as in Almaty, doing comparisons with regional studies. We've got students as research assistants working with professors at our university and other universities working on these issues. So it's what we teach, it's what we research, it's creating students ready to be part of the solution, and it's also trying as an institution to role model some of these good practices.
Thanks a lot, Loretta. So you mentioned that you're starting to the courses on ESG. Is it like just some course, or you have already developed specific like programs for, let's say, ESG-related specialities or professions? How do you see this now, and how do you see this will change in future? And do you see the demand from the students on this? Like, what's your view on that one?
Thank you. At the moment, we're starting with a course in our new Bachelor's of Business Administration, but as you can imagine, the demand from students is extremely high. The reason why I think our graduates are very successful working for McKinsey, working for Total, and working for many other organisations is that this generation of students, they know they will inherit the consequences of the decisions that we make. So they are very, very committed to this. We have a number of student groups on campus that are very supportive of environmental issues. They challenge us all the time to be true to the principles that we espouse. So the demand amongst students is extremely high, but we're starting small at the moment with this particular ESG course. But we also run a number of other executive education and related programs in broad areas, including leading change, which looks at how we, as a society, need to change the way we consider many aspects of how we operate, and ESG is part of that. So we're on that journey. We're working step by step, but we are making progress, particularly in our research, and I think our SDSN Research Centre is leading the path in many ways.
Thank you, Loretta. It's nice to hear that the demand from students is increasing. That's at least the indicator that the younger population is really taking this serious. Thanks a lot.
I would like to give the floor to Aynur Spanova. Aynur, I have the following question. You are a representative of Kazakh Green Association, who is in charge of the green agenda, and could you share your perspective on what's going on recently. And can you hear? Yes, thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to see such initiative as Chapter Zero Kazakhstan. I think it's quite timely, and as our association, Kazakh Green Association of Renewable Energy Sources, so is very proactive, and our main objective is to arrange a platform for discussion between the government, businesses, and academia. Of course, this sector is quite new, and renewable energy has a 15 years of experience in Kazakhstan. Such associations as Kazanergy, as our association, and Kazakh Power Association, we help the governments to work on those decisions, those measures which help to attract foreign investors. If I heard 15 years ago that large investors as Total, Ecofarmas, China Power would come to Kazakhstan and we would have 3 gigawatts of installed capacity, and that 70% of those who are present here would be representatives of oil and gas sector. So I wouldn't believe that, because at that time no one believed in renewable energy. It was considered that it is an expensive toy which is not needed currently, and that we have the coal reserves which would be enough for another 3 centuries. But today we enjoy unprecedented measures of support, and renewable energy sources have competitive tariffs, have 15-year tariff contracts, and the system operators have learned how to work with renewable energy sources. So currently we have 3 gigawatts of power, renewable energy power, and we have 100 megawatt, 200 megawatt facilities which produce renewable energy, and they are a part of the power system of Kazakhstan, and they produce electricity. I would like to stress that during the recent 5-7 years, new power generation facilities were introduced in solar, in wind energy, and they help us to reduce that energy deficit which we have in the country, and this is acknowledged by all the participants of the market. What is important today is to have that initiative of the government, which was actually proposed 15 years ago, to have it developed by corporations, by major businesses, small and medium businesses, by households, as it may be done due to the current legislation. We have a lot of discussions with the major consumers. They say we would like to consume green power, green energy. This is important because we need to reduce our carbon footprint from the point of view of ESG agenda. This is needed to be competitive, moreover. So this is a situation when the consumer says what kind of power they need, green or not. So in here we have a lot of discussions with the government to introduce on how to introduce the system of various contracts. We need to regulate the rules of the market. This is important for the consumers of the power generated. This is important for the bank. So this is the discussion we have going on, and I think that the major players and those investors which come to the renewable energy sector in Kazakhstan, they will come to the market and enter into direct agreements, and this will allow us to grow further. Another area which is very important as well is the readiness of the infrastructure, and this was what was mentioned by the representative of McKinsey. If the investors come, they build production facilities, both Total and Eco Power. In about 3 years, they will install at least 1 gigawatt units, and they will have storage capacities as well. And so far, we don't know how they will operate. This is quite a new technology, but nevertheless, there is a huge risk related to the infrastructure.
Whereas speaking the energy system on the whole, it doesn't have any like balance out capacities. So and we need to upgrade to advance and promote this balance out infrastructure in the 3 to 5 years to come. Maybe speaking of accumulation sites, accumulation state and changing the rules of the game for stakeholders. There is the concept of uniform energy purchaser and the balancing the market, the energy balance out market. There are some risks to renewables. The main principle at this energy balance out market, it has the principle. The principle is whoever swerves or digresses pays. You digress, you pay. And we cannot really allow the lack of competitiveness on the parts of renewables market players due to the existence of this energy market balance out market. So we have to remove these risks, address these risks that exist due to this energy balance out market and renewables and accumulation stations. We say the risks, but we also say the benefits these projects harbor for Kazakhstan. And first off, the new knowledge, the new benefits possessed by market players, majors, and expertise for Kazakhstan, and new jobs, not in the capital, but out in the regions, out in small towns and communities, which can be created in the area of green energy. I think decision makers, political decision makers, should realize what is going to happen to the thousands of jobs in the existing energy sector in the light of this non-renewable phase-out policy. So it has to be wise, it has to be pragmatic, it has to be very smart, if you allow me this word, transition strategy. Do you have a question? We're about to close our session. Pardon, we've only got 10 minutes to go. I'd like to thank you for your valuable tips and points, the points you made. Mr. Dulat Beck, I thank the moderator. Thank you so much. So please fire your questions, dear foreign participants. Well, it's esteemed colleagues. Do you have any questions from the audience? Let's have a collective picture. Let's just go for another 5 minutes. Well, I'd like to apologize once again. I've been listening for quite long now. I just couldn't hold it any longer. I had Kazakhstan's Energy Engineer Association, and I'm an energy engineer. Everyone wants to breathe clean breathing, clean air and drink clean water. Everyone says, let us do it, let us do that, let us do this, let us do that. But the question is, how exactly are we going to do it? Because there are different countries, there are different houses. 70% of all energy generating in Kazakhstan is coal-powered. I want everyone present here to know it. You know, I hear talk time and again that we need renewables. I was the first to pick up on it. And the first government decree, that granted benefits like social benefits, financial benefits, it was me. So what are these benefits? So whoever builds a renewable energy site, he or she should be granted immediate, instant access to the grid. These decrees, and the decrees I've contributed to, they still exist and they still work. I have a very good idea of what renewables are all about, and I was the first to give you a round of applause. But I'm an energy engineer, and let me just tell you what renewables are. So they are not seamless. But we need, so this energy, the energy they generate is not seamless, it's not cheap, it's even not predictable. This is what renewables are all about. Solar energy is nice. Yes, it's nice. But when do we have peak loads? It starts getting dark at 5 p.m. Midnight. At midnight, solar panels don't work. Wind turbines rely heavily on wind. If there is wind, they do run. If there is no wind, they don't run. Well, I'm talking to everyone present here. Would you like to have your house, your personal house, the house you live, to be powered from renewables? No! You won't tolerate it. You won't survive it. You'll start clamoring, please get us back, the conventionals. Of course, you've raised the right questions. Mr. Dirtbag, you keep asking, what should we do? What should we do? But there is also the nuclear energy. There are nuclear power stations. There are lots of people. They are just throwing spanners in the works. Citing the environmental agenda. They don't really understand a thing, but they are saying no to the nuclear. They keep referring to the Semipalatinsk nuclear test site, Soviet style. But it's still a matter of the past. It's long been in the past. Let's not shun these things. So the only thing we can rely on today is a nuclear power station. And they can really annihilate this nuclear footprint. This would be the best thing to do. There are impressive companies in the audience, banks, representatives of the banking sector made a statement before you. This is where we should channel our investment. Of course, there are nuclear power stations and nuclear power stations. There are these so-called modular nuclear power plants. They are still being developed. Yes, it's all clear. Yes, it's perfectly clear, which is your message is absolutely clear. Thank you. Mr. Dulat Beck, esteemed moderator Dulat Beck Mirza, we would like to invite all participants to the panel session, all of the panelists for a group photo, and I'd like to thank all contributors to our panel. Contributors to our panel. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please take your seats. You're free to walk back to your seats. Esteemed participants, the conference, the inauguration conference of Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is about to close. We thank all participants. Thank you for being supportive of this highly relevant agenda and referring to combating climate change. I thank our online participants. It's largely due to your support that we are going to start to launch things, to roll things out. We've got a long way to go. Tremendous work before us. Chapter Zero Kazakhstan is now working in Kazakhstan to combat climate change and is ready to enjoy and welcomes business, the support of the business community. We are ready to make our contribution for the sake of the future of our planet. You're always welcome to take part in our seminars and workshops and conferences. We are not only going to make a contribution to combating climate change, but also devise strategies which would make quite a real difference in our society, for our society and our countries. I wish success, prosperity to all of you, and also to wish you to achieve new goals in our agenda. See you at our next meetings. Everyone is the panelists are invited to for a group photo